the Finnish M39 and how it kind of adds up to a shit hits the fan scenario. But before we get into it, if you would please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you could, become a member. Thank you. So, the reason I'm bringing this gun in is actually for the critique, or what it is. These guns are highly collectible, and they're a lot more valuable than, say, a Mosin Nagant. Even though they are built, and we all know the story, Finland, at the end of World War I, looked at what was left in their country, the newly formed country, and found that they had a ton of old Mosin Nagants. So not only did they refurbish the ones they had and put into use, they also went around post-World War I in the 20s and purchased, because they were kind of getting obsolete by then, purchased a ton of these rifles, and then what they would do is refurbish them and rebuild them into what ultimately became the M39, which is probably the Mosin Nagant rifle system taken to its finest refinements of it. Shorter barrel, heavy step barrel, different sights. I think they even modified the magazine somewhat, but same bolt and different stock configuration. But it is the modification, refinements, and that. This is the ultimate. And we have a model 27 down here, okay, as comparison. And like I said, the whole thing is, a lot of these guns were made very well, excellent barrels, good accuracy. And the Finns did not make a lot of these firearms. Okay, the production is compared to the 37 million Mosin Nagants that were made from start to finish, not even close. So they are a rare, less common weapon. And that's something people don't realize. And the biggest thing I've seen, it's like when I got this piece here. I didn't even realize what it was. But when we were bidding on it at the auction, most people look at it as a common Russian Mosin Nagant. And the bidding went like to 1.5 C notes, because the person intended to sell it for 3 and wasn't going to go over. He wanted to double up his money. And I snagged this with all the auction fees and that for 2 C notes, which this gun is actually worth about 7, okay, to going right now. And I didn't set that. That's what people pay for these weapons. The M39s, I had one back when I paid $60 for it, 40 some years ago, and then I sold it. I wanted something else. And I had to pay 6 times to get this, 6 times what I paid back then to get this. And that's a bargain, because now these things go for 8 to over a K in this condition at the current rate. So, but let's run the countdown or the checkoff list. All right. Is something like this good for a shit hits the fan? Like I said with the Mosin, first of all, these are way more expensive, harder to find. They're a super accurate gun with the correct ammo. I mean, deadly, deadly accurate. But for what it is and that, I'm going to have to give it a 6 in that. In all of them. They're all high-value collector's items, so there's a lot less expensive things that you can use that work just as well, but we're just bringing it up. Home defense, again, this, scores a 4, okay? Hunting, now we got 5 shots, so you ain't got to modify the magazine, deadly accurate with open sights, okay? 10, that scores a 10. General purpose shooting, okay? Again, this rifle is accurate as hell. I went and hand loaded and tuned a special round to this, okay? I'm going to give it a 9 because ammunition. You have to have decent ammo, maybe an 8. Very few people shooting military grade ammo through this is not a good thing. You can do it, but you should put decent ammo in here and have it, especially gun in this condition and what the value is. So I'm going to give it an 8 in terms of general purpose shooting, but accurate as hell. This thing is fun to shoot. Militia weapon, again, 5. You don't take out your Winchester, original Winchester 94 and use it to defend your home unless that's the only thing you got or something. The older guns, more expensive guns, that's not a good thing. Collector's item, 10. All of these things go for a ridiculous amount of money, and you might think, oh, it's not worth it, but people pay it. So you can look at it any way you want. The reality is they're highly collectible, they're highly desirable, and people do pay the price. So 10. Ammo availability. You can shoot stock ammo in these even though the bore is tighter like that. They're supposed to have a 30 caliber bullet in them. So hand loading the ammo is not cheap. I mean, this gun shoots great and accurately, but I do have to make the ammo myself, and doing it nowadays with the cost of reloading, it's quite expensive. So it is a specialty thing. So I'm going to give it like a 7 or 6 because you have to be an avid hand loader and really use some expensive components to do it. Reliability, 10. All of these things function pretty good. I never had trouble with them. I'm thinking, well, one of them, when you get into these model 27s, 28s, and 30s, these were the ones used during the war. The 39s, they quite didn't get production up there. I think this one's dated 44. Okay. They were making them, issuing them, and you do find some of these that have some pretty hard use. But all of the other variations were the one in the hands of the military at the time World War II started. And so a lot of the other ones, like I said, 27s, 28s, and 30s. 30 was the one that was close to this with the sight, different sight and that, but not quite perfected to the 39. And they've seen some hard use. Okay, they're not going to be in, if you find one in pristine condition, then it's well over a K. But those guns I found generally seen some hard use. They're still shootable, but they're not in the condition like this here. So, and there you may find, I think one of them I had some sort of an issue with the damn thing. Either the extractor was stiff or something, but other than that, these guns are pretty reliable. Parts, repair, accessories. Everything is expensive. Bayonets are expensive. Slings are expensive. Anything for these guns, when you find it, expensive. So I'm going to give it, that's why I don't get bayonets and all this, because the amount of money I'm tying up in it, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for stuff that, when people buy a rifle, they want a rifle. Yeah, if you had the bayonet and all the stuff with it, you'd probably get more at an auction, but all of that, it's not worth it for me. So I'm going to give that a 6. And finding them are pretty tough too. They're not that commonplace, much like other mil-serp guns. Overall cost and value. Gonna give that, again, I'd say, see, it's a two-edged sword. Yeah, they're expensive, but they do go up in value. if you are a true collector, not just a yahoo that, oh, I'm going to buy a Mosin Nagant for $100 because 5 years from now it's going to be worth $5 or something. Okay, if you're a serious collector and you're into into it and got deep pockets, yeah, these guns are retain their value. And like I said, the best thing about them is people mistake them for Mosin Nagants, and you can probably steal them, at one point in time. You can get a deal like on this one, So that's about the only upside of it. So, in terms of value, it's a 10. Cost, looking at it for what they are, it's going to lower it down to about a 6. They're expensive, so that's a double-edged sword there, Alright, well, I thought I'd bring them out, take a look at them, and mention them because we did the Mosin Nagant. Alright, so thank you, and stay tuned.